Hello, and welcome to a new video. This video is going to be about capture method, or interface, as is called by my club. Um, the reason I said that is because interface in some places refer to like how the inner workings are. So I just want to specify like, hey, maybe it's something else. But yes, welcome to a video about capturing method slash interface. Um, I'm supposed to be doing research on them. Uh, and I kind of have. It's been a bit. I do need to do some work. So, but um, this is just gonna be a video of capturing methods that I do not think will work. Because keep in mind, these methods. So the reason why I don't think they work is one, probably too much time to get them to work. Two, the weight. So you can't go above 3.5 pounds weight. So Um, third, they might not be enough space within the thing. And lastly, um, I just think that the things were dumb. Like what I came up with was dumb. But before we get into that, I would like to say, I like my Vans. I haven't wore them in a while, so at first it was kind of annoying. They still are a little tight on me. Um, but I like them. I did not know how much I would actually like these. If only they were a little bit more comfortable with this sole. Like besides like the inside of the shoe, your sole. If I replace that with something like memory foam, this would be like a top tier shoe. I just want to point out because why not? Um, but yeah. So let's go with the first capturing method. I would call the water bucket method. The reason why I would call it the water bucket method is because it is essentially just that. So in case you don't know, they're these big flying planes that you use to put out forest fires. And what they do is they scoop it up and then dump it out. Um, really simple in concept. I don't think about okay, we could do something like that. But a couple issues. One, because we're not actually swimming in water. Well, there's a couple issues that I realized in the shower that might not be a big of an issue. But the first issue that I came up with was the fact that you really is gonna clamp on it versus water, where when you scoop down, it's gonna push some of it out and then some of it come out right. Because it's a solid thing, it's just gonna clamp on like this, which isn't bad, but it's not what the design is for. Uh, Really, if that was gonna be the case, I should design like a full method to do like a full circular method based on the shape and then have it clamp on like that. Um, Second problem is, I'm pretty sure they have to go inside the airplane or your aircraft. Um, so the second problem is it's a solid, so it's not gonna really rise up. But you have slanted angles. If you get low enough, you might actually like act like a slope and have it just scoot up like this, as if forcing it to go up. Um, that's if it has an angle, but I'm not sure if that will work. Um, but it should probably work if you just do it like that and it could pick up. Another thing is that it'd probably be very weighty to do so. Um, and like the method that it would be required to do so automatically would probably be two servos to like go like this and then go like that. Um, which I would try and keep as little electricity draw as I could. Um, so yeah. Also, I would say another downside is that depending on what material you use, um, that would be very weighty. Um, so that's just like another concern that I had. Um, and if it did capture right there, you probably want the thing to made out of metal and like be magnetic, so you can just attach it like that and not worry about it. But once again, I'm pretty sure you have to do it like that. Another method I thought about is using the reason I'm looking over because I can hear like a but another method I thought about using is like a scoop method where you just fly down, it pushes up and go up. Like essentially it's a crawl method. Um I'm gonna I didn't draw it out. But imagine this is the plane right here. This is a phone. It would drop down from right here, go like this. You scoop by, pick back up, and then pull it up. Couple problems with that. First of all, you probably need a magnet on one of the sides so it can actually lock on. Second of all, once again, servos. Wait. Um, but another thing is, you're supposed to be using veto, which is flying up and down at that point. And that is literally just coming by. Also, the same problem with the other one where it's like, it might not guarantee, so you have to have it at a slope in order to do it like that. Of course, you could probably get that to work. You could also use the same method I said beforehand, with the first one, the water bucket method, and do it on both sides. You could probably use that too. But I think both of those are kind of unreliable, and you require servos. And I'm trying to keep the weight to the minimum. So I forgot to name the other one, but this one I actually do have a name for it. I'm gonna call it the elevator method. Um, so this is split into the elevator method and the magnet method. The elevator method is you have a platform, with a electromagnetic on top, and then regular magnet, right? So that when the electromagnetic goes, it attached to it. Once when let go, it drops down, right? On this elevator like thing where it's like restricted in between those 2 points, so it doesn't go off anywhere, right? And you could technically speaking put it on a conveyor belt or have servos like wrap the string around and release the string, if that is slider. But then you drop down the platform, it will go on top of your payload, get attached to it because it's metal, um, and then you would just pull it up, essentially making it like an elevator. And then also, when it's not there, you could have the base be pretty much flat because of the fact that you wouldn't need to have it attached. You would just turn off the electromagnet. One of the things I was concerned about when it comes to this method and why I think it's invaluable is because it's magnets. A magnet does tend to mess up with electricity. Like take for instance, you shouldn't put a phone on your magnets. Also, GPS can mess up with that. Uh, so I was concerned that you probably wouldn't want to do that. Also keep in mind most of this I didn't dig deeper into because I have a habit of like thinking about something and then just like think about all the problems with it and be like, no, I don't think I need to look deeper into it because of this factor. So some of these ideas might actually be good, but just not good enough for what I thought. Um, but yeah, you might have a issue with that, and then also because it would have to be exposed most likely for the it to work. It might also burn stuff, but I'm not 100% sure about that one. That was one that I just thought about recently, just now. But yeah, and then you attach it, and then you flow up, flow down. It will allow for a pretty flat surface on the bottom. Uh, it should attach relatively easily as long as you're right there, dead center. It doesn't even have to be center because the magnet will be in the center, of both objects, so kind of just automatically align itself. So you wouldn't have to worry about that, and then go up. Second method I will call that's the elevator method, right? There are some other things I would think about, like just having having the thing that go up and down be electromagnetic, and then having top be permanent magnet. But then I realized that that probably wouldn't work as well. It might be more difficult to work with, as you would need to supply energy to there instead of just the top, which would probably require more and longer wires. Um, my phone vibrating? No. All right. Which probably require more and longer wires to do so. So, probably not. Um, I also thought about having a permanent magnet on top, but then I realized it wouldn't really, it'd be stuck there. So that'd be dumb. It would just make no sense. Um, so that was a method I came up with. Also, the reason I said like instead of survey, like I went like just literally just two beams to slide up and down versus like a servo to help control the exact pattern of it is because there'd be less electricity pull. I'm pretty sure you just have two beams like balsa wood. It would be less than two servos. When you also include like the string or whatever you're gonna use to like help guide it. And secondly, if you have it like that, it's gonna be pretty much guided anyways. It's not gonna be that much more. Um, so, but now you have the that was the elevator method. Next method I decided to try to use is the thing behind try to use. Oh no, that's the mouth movement for that. The next method I thought about, which should go along with it, is electro magnet. There's just a magnet method where instead of having that second platform, which doesn't necessarily do much, instead of that, you just have the same thing, just a gap in the hole in the middle, and a electromagnetic on top. You just drop down, and that would be a plan. You just drop down on it, boom, attach. Yeah. Um, the reason why I think this one is less reliable is because of the fact that there's less, like, if you mess up, it's less of a way to actually fix the mess up. So, like, let's say you're off by an inch, um, it might not work as well. Secondly, because with the first method, while the plan is just to make it so it go down to the base of the plane and not any further as to use the least amount of material possible, you could always make it go a little bit further down. You just extend it a little more. Like have the box would extend a little bit more or whatever you use. Like you can always extend it to drop down a little bit more if needed. And also it's a like it's on the bottom of the plane. So you slide back and forth until it eventually attaches, because it will eventually attach. And then you just rise up, because at that point it will be centered already, and you just rise it up. This method, it would be you have to find the center right up the way, and then it would be able to go and attach up. It also relies on a factor of the plane inside being big enough to hold the entire thing versus the first model where it's more along the lines of like just being big enough so that it can hold two things. I think that's like it relies more on it will require less internal space, but the trade-off of less internal space would be there's more concern about picking it up. Which is why I don't think either one of those are viable, because one might mess up the like the literal like servos and whatnot, and like the actual mechanism of the plane, from the GPS to like the internal hardware there is. But secondly, like it may not be precise enough. It's a bunch of problems that I think is possible to do. Um, but I don't know if it'd be optimal to do, especially given the fact that we don't know the rule set for the next term. So there might be a rule like, I know you can't have anything metallic within your thing. Uh, so because of that, and then it also depends on what material. Like this heavily depends on what material you use. So take for instance, let's say for some reason, my club went to shell up and shell out. So instead of having like a plastic container with a metal core made out of like I don't know, iron, is a plastic container with a metal core of gold, which means it's extremely small because gold is extremely dense and you wouldn't need that much to get to 1 pound. Problem is gold's not magnetic. So it wouldn't really work. You can make gold ferromagnetic, I think, using an electromagnetic system, kind of like copper. But at the same time, it's like we're gonna make like this tiny square piece of gold do that. It also will say, if they allow for a like a system within the pickup load, like oh you can have wheels, right? It might also mess up with that system. So I would say they have a lot of interference issues, from point A to point B, because it could also interfere with the radio signals. I think, because I'm pretty sure magnetic fields can interrupt radio signals if it's strong enough, right? So those are like some of the concerns that I think make this like these two invalid. I think those two are like my best of them, like the best design I came up with, but I still don't think they're really there. Um, so yeah. And then I have some dumb ones. Uh, because you gotta have some dumb ones, of course. Um, let's go back to the like scoop method. Just 2 strings that have like what's it called? Well, 4 strings that have a like base on it. You would just go down, try sliding underneath there, and rise up. Now, of course, that method you would still have to get the angle so it can do that. But also I realized that's kind of dumb. Because you have to go to VTOL and then you have to change it so you can like you have to change vertically too, and it's just a lot of work. Plus, it probably wouldn't be a guaranteed pickup because then after you have it right there, you go too fast, woo, you go too slow, woo, or like you try to change. It's not very secure. Now, if you attach servos to those strings, you could route it up to have it go inside of there. But then it's a kind of problem because like, do you want your entire base plate just to be that part, or do you want to have like a specific spot that you aim for? If you want that entire base plate to be that part, it's perfectly fine. It just might not be as aerodynamic. And if you just want one spot, then it's like, well, okay, at that point, you might as well just use a different pickup method that is more precise and less stupid. Um, but yeah, that was another one that I thought of. So I think of some more that I thought of, whether it be in the shower or in there. Okay, so this one isn't really a pickup method, um, but this was a method of losing weight that I thought about. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail about. You can see the craft, like the one that they went to actually use. So not like I'm being secretive. But essentially, our current or the design they went with to like go VTOL have one, two, three motors going like that you can go upward. Um, I'm pretty sure they're on a what's it called servo. So I'm pretty sure they can also go down and aim up and down with it. Um, so I was told this one wouldn't work, so that's why this is here. Because it was bad. But I was like, oh, well, you make the fan in the center. But because you wanted to go veto, you can't have it there. What I would think about, I didn't explain to him what I thought it was, because, he said it wouldn't work. So I was like, oh, well, I don't need to explain it, because he know more about aircraft than I do. But just for the sake of the video, I'm gonna explain it. Essentially, the way I thought we could do it is having the servo stick, like the fan, the motor sticking out, right? Like how you see in some fans in the center, right? And then you could have a servo that is attached to it to like go up and down. To make sure it stay as aerodynamic, you have to 3D print a plate to the nose where it's like essentially just like this, where it would clamp onto where the servo is or the motor is to allow it to go up and down. But in order for that to happen, you have to have the servo go. So so if you want this thing to turn up and down, sorry, I'm trying to make sure I describe this correctly. My ears are incredibly itchy because I left that earphone for way too long, and those are sharp. Um, so boom. Let's say this my elbow is my servo, right? When facing this direction, it go up and down, so you have to have it like this. Typically, though, you would see it like this, where it go like, oh yeah, no, that's correct. So you want to go up and down, right? That how it goes. So it's based on your elbow, right? This right here would be a vertical up and down. So it'd be the equivalent of this phone, right? Going from this to this. That's a more easier way to visualize it. But because of the method I would have you have to use for mine thing, it will be you have to go like this. So instead of a phone going like this to this, you have to have the server go sideways so that it goes like this to this. Um, Now could that still go veto? Probably. That is pretty much as a helicopter design, but I understand why you say it wouldn't work. One, I do get the like that would be a pretty big nose, I think. But also because I'm pretty sure that in order for that, like the nose is like one of the important parts to having like a aerodynamic plane. So it's also that, and then also I understand that there's like it'd be it's a significantly higher margin of error, harder to do than just having on the wings. Having on the wings is significantly easier, can produce easier, like probably will produce more, will produce more consistent results. And overall, I get why you say it would work. I mean, wouldn't work. Um, Even though I didn't explain it to him, because once again, that'd be dumb. So that was another idea, and with that idea, save up a lot of weight. Theoretically speaking, let's say in this scenario, let's just say that the design worked, right? You have these two servos that two motors and two servos, and then the sticks that stick them out. All that's gone. Which would be, I don't know how much weight it would be, but it would definitely save out some weight. And then, whatever weight reduction, I'm not gonna spoil it. Whatever weight reduction they're already doing from, like, I don't know, making the wings smaller, or like, um, I'm gonna pause real quick. I didn't want to get face on camera. But from like whatever they do for weight reduction, maybe small emitters, doesn't matter. It would like automatically make it lighter because of the fact that there's less of that. Which would mean that we could do like heavier stuff in the center. It would also lower the amount of like wires and stuff needed, so that would also save weight. It was a bunch of stuff that could save weight, less in like a pick up method. It was mainly because that was like when I thought interface. What they were referring to that interface was like how exactly the thing is loaded out in the inside. Um, so that was the idea for that one. But what will you go from there? I would probably say from there, you um. So given the fact that last year they didn't, that you could still have the payload be like their own thing, as long as it stay on the ground. What I would say is like just make it like essentially the landing gear for it. Like you already have the already landing gear you have, and then just have the base like be a hole in the center for it to go into, and then have it be, I don't know, because you already removed two servos, so you can just have two servos going. You want it to go like this. So survey one go like this. So you want to go this way. You have to have it a tilt servo, I think that what it's called. And then like have it go like that. Or you could have a piston method to like essentially lock it in by like a piston. Essentially, you just have two things and you push it real tight, and then by boom, your payload can still use as landing gear. Now that I think about it, that could also be used as another form of capture, essentially using a hole in the center, right? And then, or like maybe not a hole in the center, but let's say like a piece of plastic or something, like a 3D printed base, but this one section is cut out so it can go up and down. Essentially, like the elevator design, boom, you push up, right? And then you have two pistons, and then you just with a square base so that it doesn't break stuff, or like a claw, like a hand base, and then you just drop on where you think it is, and it comes in and go like that. Theoretically, if it wasn't for the weight limit, you could also have them be attached to servos to go up and down with it. So actually, theoretically, you could just use that as like um your arms. Like essentially put on the bottom, have two servos that go up and down with these things, and then having a piston method or another method to like have it clamp sideways. Maybe another Yeah, no, I think a piston method could work because it would just require a servo attached. No, it wouldn't require a servo. I don't think you would need a motor for that. You might need a motor for that, so that might not work if you need a motor. But you probably use like another servo and then just have them clamp on it, and then you reverse it and just go back to the thing. Um, I will say could come in with a method. Like if you put the wheels and the blind landing gear on it, so that when it's in rest, so let's say like this, it's in rest, the landing gear sticking out to allow it to land, and then you can go like this, and then go like this, and then back to rest. That could theoretically work. That just seemed like a lot of moving parts, and also that seemed like it would be heavy. Like I'm telling you right now, that would definitely that doesn't seem like it'd be heavy. I know it would be heavy, so I wouldn't say that method will work, but it could theoretically work. um, theoretically. And then one last Hail Mary, because why not? Let's see if I can come up with one on the spot. Um, boom. Thought of a really dumb one. It's kind of like the elevator method. You have a platform that slides down on the bottom. You have it like this. You have a place plate. You have it slide down. You have the ramp there, and you slide it on. It's magnetic on the center, so it would draw the thing into the center, and then you just pull it back up. That's just really dumb. Also, it's just a method that I already said. But for a more legitimate method outside of a method I already said, it's done better. Once again, just to remove that platform, have those two things be electromagnetic poles, have it slide out from the base, and then you could have it be attached. Like essentially, it would attach the payload to both sides, and then you attach upwards. Once again, this comes with the problem that every magnetic problem that I come up with have. Uh, they rely on the material being magnetic. So yeah, it's dumb. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. I don't know if my club have a um what's it called, a YouTube channel. Uh, so because I'm unsure of that, today's shout out will be TSA because I was a part of there. That was my last club, and I'm gonna go with. Give me a second. And Sir Superhero, which is a YouTuber I watched yesterday, and he had interesting stuff. But with that being said, thank you all for watching. I may make that video that I think is really dumb. I am avoiding it. I think it's dumb, but y'all might see me next time making a explaining ugly thing like the 4 stages of ugliness. Um, but otherwise, I'll probably see me with a less dumb video. Uh, and with that being said, I'll see y'all next time. Remember, shout outs in the description below. Also, if I forget who I shout out, I'm an idiot. So, sorry.